Good afternoon. It's Sunday, I think. I know I'm still out of whack with all the days. Yesterday we failed to complete my triangle, which was a very poor effort on my behalf. But it was down to the fact that, we. Sorry, the dog wants to come up. And we time got away from me, and we had a bit of a hard stop with the Tesco guy coming with food. So today we are planning on finishing my triangle and massacring the dog if he doesn't behave. Come on. Keep coming. Don't just sit halfway. Thank you. So, let's have a look. We need one of you. And you smell, dog. A lot. Like real festiness, that is. So we need 4 of you. Like that. And we can put you out the way for a minute. And we need 4 of you. No, I said 4, not 5. Okay. You're in the way, dog. You really are. So, let's try and sort of smell these bobbins out. So, you're gonna break the couch if you do that, dog. Pushing and the arm of the chair made horrible creaking. So, we'll be gluing it back together. So we were forecast lots of snow and ice and doom and the end of the world and a whole host of other things. It's kind of warm and wet out there at the moment. It's not even that cold. I mean, it's not, you know, summer warm, but it's not exactly, you know. It's not exactly that cold out there. But once again, you know, still receiving tons of weather report stuff on my phone going, oh, it's going to be snowy. Oh, there's going to be flooding. Yeah, well, I mean, I get quite a few flood alerts because where I live, the immediate locale is not hugely prone to flooding, but pretty much all around us is. Back in 2007, when the UK rather famously had a bit of flooding, this house, well, the area this house was in, allegedly flooded. This house wasn't built then. Since then, you know, work has been done, stuff has happened, and all the times that it's flooded round here, out on the main road and stuff, not even close here. The only time it did get close was end of last year. There was one occasion when I felt actually genuinely concerned that there might be flooding. So the main road, instead of just being flooded, bits near the main road, the water's coming up the drains, not going down it, which is never a good sign. My toilet was making noises, that which you only hear in like horror movies where things come out the drain. And it did that quite a lot. That was because the drains were bubbling. But not enough that it actually, you know, sent monsters out the sewage. It just, well, it was really loud though. I mean, I'm sitting the other end of the house to the toilet. Now, my house has not got time zones, it's, you know, but it's through a couple of doors, it's, you know, around a corner and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And so for it to be loud enough to me to hear it and think, that's actually quite loud, was surprising. And to start with, I didn't know what it was. All I could hear was this doop, 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 doop noise. And, as I say, it really was quite prominent. But I located it as the toilet and watched it, and it was just air bubbles coming out. Still concerning, because, you know, it's not supposed to do that. But, you know, as it was only air bubbles, you know, no major cause for alarm, although there could be some noxious fumes in that. But other than that, you know, could have been a lot worse. It could have been water coming out and flooding the house, in which case I would have been very unimpressed. Because have you ever noticed your water pipes always have a stopcock on them, so you can turn them off should a pipe burst further down? Sewage pipes never do. So if stuff does decide to come up the sewage, you're not going to do much about that. So I was slightly concerned, but, you know, wasn't exactly going to be able to do anything about it, so worry not. But it did, you know, that was the nearest I got to being worried for this house, because while the field behind us often turns into a bit of a lake, my garden doesn't. And so, unless my garden's kind of got a bit of a lake in it, I won't even, you know, the garden might be soggy, but, you know, unless there is kind of some bigger pools of water in my garden, I'm not too worried. But on that particular day, there were the actual road here, and right outside my house, was solid water. Which, given the size of the drains in our road, is quite impressive. because they're not the usual kind of, well, almost this size square drains that you see. These things are like 2 and a bit feet by 1 and a bit feet. They're huge. They're almost as big as this lace pillow. And you're sitting there going, yeah, if you've managed to block that's quite an achievement. Hats off to you, that's So obviously it was the actual drains further down rather than specifically. It was, it was the drainage system rather than the individual drains. But other than that, it's, I get quite a few flood alerts because, well, as I say, back in 2007 it flooded, and, well, frankly, they didn't warn anybody, so they've changed that they'll warn people. The problem is they say flood alerts, and 99% of the time I don't even have to, I almost don't even have to look out the window. I mean, it's not raining now, it's drying up a bit, it's fine. Here. What? So yes, all the excitement about, oh my goodness, there's going to be so much snow and I don't even think we saw any flakes, let alone settling snow. This was a conversation I was having with the Tesco man, because even he said, there they were, oh my god, it's going to be the end of the world, and it's like, it's not looking very snowy, is it? And it's like, no, not really. It's looking wet, and, well, it's winter and all that, Because that's the other thing, is oh my goodness, there might be ice. It is winter, you know that, right? I mean, if this was July, fair cop to you, but it's winter. We kind of expect a bit of ice and snow and cold in the winter normally, This is deemed normal. We are a funny lot when it comes to weather. Oh my goodness, there's too much sun. Drought, drought. Oh my goodness, there's too much rain. Flood, flood. Oh my god, there's 3 snowflakes. The end of the world is nigh. No. That leaf moved. It's too windy. We are useless. We really are. Three leaves move on a tree, and 6 people post, has anyone seen my trampoline? It. We are a funny lot. So I hope the weather's better where you are than where I am, because, to be honest, we got all of our hopes up for snow and excitement, and, well, it's not even cold, I think they're now talking of, was it 13 degrees by Wednesday or something? Rory is being very clingy today. Amy was clingy yesterday. Today it's Rory's turn. And I love them quite a lot. I really do. But sometimes you just don't need a dog in your face. You really don't. Especially not a sort of like a 20-25 kilo dog in your face. I mean, if it was small and could, fit on your lap and not be particularly noticeable, that'd be fine. But unfortunately, the best lap dogs are not small and can't really be defined as lap dogs. I mean, Newfies don't really work out as lap. Well, they might think they're lap dogs, but they're not really. I mean, I'd certainly never turn one down. Well, probably would if I was trying to do something like this, but as a whole, I have a big thing for bigger dogs. I like big, fluffy dogs. If I won the lottery, I would probably move house. But not because I want a bigger house, per se. I just want more room for dogs. I think you often get this question, what would, if you won the lottery, what would you spend it on? Dogs. Dogs. Having dogs, having someone to help me with the multitude of dogs that I would have, because I would have more dogs than is really feasible for one person. See if I could buy the field behind the house and make it my garden. So there's more garden for them to run around in, because there'd be more dogs than garden, Basically, I'd want something like the end scene in the 101 Dalmatians. The one with the Disney one with the real people, the actual kind of lifelike Disney 101 Dalmatians, where at the end scene you see like rolling fields and tons of Dalmatians across it. Something like that. That's kind of, the picture on my, aim for board, should, millions of pounds drop in my lap. That's exactly what I'd do with that. Go down, basically phone all the nearest dog shelters and go, bring them in. It's, send them in. I'd, of course, have to have built some outdoor shelters potentially for those who wish to stay outdoors, because not all dogs are indoor dogs. Huskies and the like being outside in the cold. And Happy New Legion! Happy New Legion! Happy New Year to you! How are you? How you doing? It's good to see you back, my friend. I've been playing PoE 2. I do confess that Act 2 has kind of got me beat. I am really struggling in the sense of, I won't call it by zone, but as a whole, each zone you go to in PoE 2 is significantly harder than the one you've just left. There's no kind of... It doesn't feel a slow, well, I won't say slow, because it doesn't have to be slow, but there doesn't seem to be a gentle progression. So it's almost like each zone is 5 levels higher than the one before it. Now, I know they're not, but it's kind of how it feels, in the sense of, there you are, when you first arrive in a zone, you die a bunch of times. Fine. You get to a point where you've got a bit better equipment, you've got a couple of you've got a couple more skills, you've leveled those, you're just about comfortable in that you can take on a pack of crap without instant death. And now you need to go to new zone. So you go to new zone. Hello, mob. Oh, I'm dead. Okay. Not quite sure how I died there, but okay, I'm dead. Try again. Oh, look, I'm dead again. And each time you go to a new zone, it's very much like that, but Act 2 especially. I do remember in PoE 1, when you got to the end of Act 1, that was a hard fight. And that's fine. But there's hard fights, and there's just like almost impossibly or annoying fights. To me, any game where the build-up and all the mobs around you are a cakewalk, and you come across a bit of a boss mob, and you don't even see what kills you, that's just wrong. It should not be that bad. Well, to be fair, I would argue you're probably doing better on the Xbox, because crashing is a problem on the PC. I may have to go and try that, because part of me wants to enjoy PoE 2, and I'm not hating it, but I do get really frustrated. Now, when I played day one of launch, and frankly, if it ran, it was a frigging miracle, and you got in, because it crashed a lot, things were really, 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 really hard. And I don't honestly believe that, for example, when you get, when you first got to the bog witch in, like, the first, you got to the guy beating on the town gates, and you had to kill that. On day one, he was frankly near impossible. It took you like 20 goes. Today, even with, almost with your bare fists and not trying, you can succeed now. And I don't believe I've mysteriously gained so much better in game power, because, well, the last 50 years I didn't manage it, so what makes, I think there is a little bit of that, but, I mean, to be fair, dying 2 or 3 times to it because you're not used to it is fine. But when you died like 20 times to it, and you literally, you'd taken kind of barely the shine off his armour, and you were dead. You were just having the floor wiped with you. Now there is a lot more loot. Now there are a lot more skill gems dropping. Now, I know the first character I started, and I played for about a week and a bit with the first character, I was lucky if I'd had 1 or 2 gems drop per level that I was. Sorry, the skill gem levels that you have, right? Whereas I'm now getting a bank full of skill gems that I haven't used, because I've got more than I need. And from that point of view, it feels kind of weird, because obviously, I'm not saying it's raining from the sky, because it's not. But when you've got more than you need, versus when you first had it, you almost didn't get any, it does seem a little bit odd. I'm getting Regal Exalted Orbs, I didn't get any of those for the first week. None at all. And so with that, from that point of view, it's not all me, right? Because obviously now I can improve magic my gear. I can, rare my gear. I can, well, I couldn't do that with the first one. The first one, there I was in Act 2, pretty much with the same shit I started in, kind of crawling out the sea. It kind of didn't feel right. And so, having played around and played a couple of classes, because, well, I always do, I will say it is easier because you know what you're looking for in a lot of cases. But certainly, I mean, that guy who's lost his family in the cemetery and who generally just... Oh, of course, this fucking ads. I ran ads so that you wouldn't do that, and hey presto, you're doing it anyway. Cheers for that, Twitch. I ran a 3-minute ad for you to get rid of this ad break because I thought it might help. And it clearly hasn't because you've done it anyway. Thanks a lot. But that guy who, morphs into something. One of the other things that I find slightly frustrating with the characters in PoE 2 is, like the guy in the cemetery. Oh, I can't find my family. I want to get back to my family. Here's your family. Well, they're dead. Those bloody Eternals, they're dead. I will make them pay. So he whips your ass. It's not your fault. You didn't do it. Later on, when you find the woman on the, you get sent to release some woman impaled on spikes so you can start your ascendancy. Which, by the way, I have yet to do with any of my characters, because I die every single fucking time. Even though I'm level 30 on one of them. Still die. You're supposed to have done it by now. But you find this woman impaled on spikes. She got impaled by spikes for things she did, and you're releasing her and, making her day. So she tries to kill you. These people have got more PMS and anger issues than anything you'll find. I think we do have to remember, of course, that it's in early access and that things may change. And so, even though they have... Well, and it is early access, and that, much as they repeat, kind of the same scenes, just harder, dear God, like we needed them harder, for later on in the game, half the classes aren't there, half the weapon types aren't there, half the skills aren't there. An awful lot of stuff isn't there, and the stuff that is there isn't necessarily how it's going to be come the end of it. And so, with it all in mind, it's because it primarily does play pretty well. It is hard to remember that this is not the actual game, that this is an early insight as to where they've got with it. Doesn't mean it is the actual way it will be forevermore. So yeah, we've got ads in a couple of seconds, but I will definitely have a look at Return to Moria, because, well, I like wasting my time on a game. Take care, mister. Yeah, I start work generally early morning, and I find it really difficult because I'm kind of a night owl, and so I want to go to bed late and then don't want to get up. I mean, my natural wake up time's 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, so I understand. Keep to your schedule, mate. Have fun. Sleep well. Oh dear, am I in your way, dog? How rude of me to sit on my couch. Take out some more pins just because we can, and we like taking out pins. Sure you're awake. Couple look a little odd. Nothing drastic. I've seen worse. Done worse, that's for sure. Ah, dear me. It's alright. My Amazon thing came this morning. Because, well, I live on Amazon. It's alright, I was trying to remember what the other thing was. I'd had 2 things arrive and couldn't remember what one of them was. Even though it's on the table in front of me, but it's pretending to be like it's been there all its life. Me. I must work what the dog did yesterday. So while Tesco Man was here, there was a horrendous kind of noise from in here where the dogs were, and it was Rory mountaineering off over things, but I haven't worked out what made the noise because it sounded like something breaking. have been my laptop. She says, realising that the laptops are in a pile there. You could have cracked the screen on the laptop, I suppose. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Be a bit embarrassing if he has. There's a lot of birds out there. Definitely feels warmer than 18 degrees in here, that's for sure. Can't read that. So I've got one of those, got a meter for the gas and electric, but I've got a feeling once again it's changed its mind because there's no way that's today's reading. It loves to kind of, it will stay on a particular setting for days and weeks, and then sometimes it just won't. And it changes to what you've spent, like, so far this month or something. And it's not actually accurate either, because it doesn't include standing fees. And so, you know, it's just kind of, even though it's connected to, well, it's provided by the electricity and the gas people, it doesn't include the standing fees. So if it says you've used 10 quid's worth, you haven't. You might have used 10 quid's worth of actual fuel or electricity or whatever it's looking at, but that's not what it's going to cost you. And so it's a really infuriating little device, because part of you tries to follow it and believe in it, and the other half of you is going, well, what's the point in that if it's not actually going to give me the details that I actually need of how much today actually cost. Well, I think this is supposed to, but there's no way it does. Or there's no way it's doing it accurately, because I can wake up and it's just, it uses stuff. It says I'm using stuff when I know I'm not. So I could go, well, I don't know, because at midnight it turns the cooking screen on, which of course is when it would apply the standing charge, isn't it? So by the time I get up in the morning, it's say 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Well, now it's had warming up the house and running electric for a couple of hours, and so it's not actually, but it's usually around the £2-3 mark. And my house costs about, well, even like when it was really cold towards the end of November, my house and bear in mind I work from home, so obviously it's going to be warmer during the day here than it would be if I was out. So, and I'm using more electricity during the day because, well, I'm here. So I get through about, on a really cold day, that the month will average about 150 quid. On a better day, it's a lot less than that. But it's also surprising that you see some people go, oh, well, you know, my gas and electric for a detached house in the middle of nowhere, and it's like minus 20 brass monkeys, is like £47 a month. And you're kind of going, my standing fee's more than that. Let me see if my thing will tell me. Hang on. Well, you see, this is the thing. My problem is that because I can, depends on the day. Let me. This, of course, is coming up with a fucking black screen of nothingness. Because it says that. Show something on the wretched screen. The app on this can be a real pain in the arse. Loading your data. Thank you. So, it says that the heating is off, the water is off, everything is off. But if I go to Insights, it's telling me I'm using 18p an hour. Well, here's the thing, right? So, my heating is turned off, my hot water is not running. I won't say my heating's turned off, but it's not currently doing anything. So my heating is not generating heat at this time. Yet, the machines are saying I'm going through 18p an hour of gas. Well, no, I'm not. The problem I found, and I proved this to myself early on, because I literally went and pulled the plug. If I kick my heating in for, say, 10 minutes, and then literally go throw the plug so nothing is on anymore, it will really slowly say that the price per hour is dropping. So after half an hour, it will kind of go, oh yeah, it's actually a bit less than that now. After 45 minutes, oh yeah, it's a bit less than that now. It's not like the electricity where you turn on, say, the fluorescent light in the kitchen and the little thing goes, oh, gets all excited because it's drawing a lot of electricity. And then you can see that it says, oh, well, this is going right. I'm doing really well at this. You turn it off, and about 15 seconds later, it goes, oh, yeah, you turned it off. Oh, I'm bored now. It doesn't do that with gas. It will tell you for ages you are using gas when you're not. And I've had everything checked because, well, there was a thing for a while where basically the battery ran out on my gas meter, and I told them it had run out. It wasn't reading on my meters, and I just had and then they kind of went, yeah, we'll get back to you. Didn't. I reminded them about a month later, still not giving meter readings. Yeah, whatever. Well, the other problem with both electricity and gas is it's like the word calorie. We're all aware of calories and how many calories are good for you, but you can't prove or disprove the amount of calories in something. So if someone says that's 200 calories, you can only believe them. If the gas board say you've used 200 units of gas this month, you can only believe them. You have no way to prove, other than maybe the meter, but who knows who can prove that the meter's accurate. It's not like buckets of water, or you can't prove to yourself that that's right. And as I said, because mine will constantly say that I'm using gas even when it's switched off, it does make it really, really difficult. So, for example, it doesn't show it in a really good way. This app has various things. Of course, can't really show you because of the angle of the screen, but it tells me that I'm currently using 0.6p electricity and 6p an hour of electricity and 18p of gas. If I go to consumption history, my electricity shows that the most I used was about 2 o'clock. She says, 2:15. I was using a whole 7p an hour, right, of electricity. If I try and do it by month, electricity, it said, for, say, the 3rd of January was £2.40. If I change it to gas, it's really hard to pick a day. It says I used £5.42. Well, that's about £8. 9 quid. Well, 2 years ago, I was lucky if I was breaking £2 a day. But it doesn't always add up. And there was a thing on their website about it not adding up, right? Because it says things like, why is it that these values don't match the meter readings and they kind of, oh well, we average it and we do this to it, and basically it's con. I mean, lots of people here in the UK have complained about their energy suppliers because you can be like £800 in credit with them and they still want to put up your monthly fee. Well, for what? You've already got £800 of my money that I didn't need to pay you. Why do I need to pay you more than that? And I suffered from that because, they turned around and said, oh, you should pay us £143 a month. And I was going, but you've just paid me back £650 because I was in credit when I was paying you £79 a month. Oh yeah, but you need, we estimate your costs are going to be this, and so to cover it, it's going to be £143 a month. Yeah, but you're missing the point. If even during winter I wasn't spending £79 a day, then you don't need to put it up. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a little confused because I also can tell you that while my thermostat says it's 18 degrees in here, it's not. It's 22. I have a very, very accurate body temperature clock. It's 22 in here. It's not 18 degrees. But that's all I've set it to be. But I know that it's more than 18 degrees. Now, I did have another as I say, I can't quite read it, but it looks like. Oh, Rory, well, and that's kind of where I was at. I refused to pay them 140 quid a month because, well, well, mine's for both. So, but like you say though, if I don't mind paying slightly more than I use, because obviously during winter and maybe I'll go over it. I don't mind slowly accruing a bit of credit with them, but I'm not going to double my payment almost when I'm in credit. I'm sorry, but no. That's just greedy. That's just greediness. That's can we not be doing that? But we do seem to be being fleeced a little for our energy supplies over here at the moment. It is a ridiculous amount of money. Because of course it's all funny. It's funny how they're all making horrendous. Most of the actual electricity companies, not the resellers, the electricity and fuel generating people. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that I'm also heating and electrifying 2 houses, right? But this is purely for this house, right? I know that my old house is about £75 a month, and for that I get the ability for my pipes not to freeze, so everything's set to 8 degrees centigrade, so it shouldn't kick in that much, and one light bulb. It is literally one light bulb, a router and a webcam, and it cost me 75 quid a month. And I noticed the water companies suddenly decided to wake up and start charging me money again. Because, of course, this was something I didn't understand when I first moved up here. When I lived in London, you paid for the water in, you paid for the water out, and that was it. Job done. Now I pay land drainage fees. So basically, if it rains too much, they charge me a shitload of money. Well, it's not like I had a choice. I also have a problem with the Severn Trent water website because you get it says, if you want to look at your payments online and, your account online, do this. And I'm like, well, pretty sure I know what the password is, but apparently not. Okay, reset password. It never sends me the email. So I can't check, but I've got one that pays every quarter and one that pays monthly, and I don't know which house is which. But one's really cheap, one's really not. But there's no way I use that much water. There really isn't. There is only one of me, after all. Hang on. Nothing ever is quick anymore. Okay, so, for example, old house, here with British Gas, I had to pay £76.56 last month. EDF I paid 143. Severn Trent Water, one house is about 15 quid a month. The other, she says looking for it, hang on. Let's do a search because it's quicker. Is £213 a quarter. At least I think it's a quarter. Oh, it might be for 6 months. Hang on. Let me read this. If I count the number of months between it. Yeah, it's 5 months. Rory, can you stop complaining? Yeah, that's the other problem, is that I pay monthly with one lot and not with another lot, and so it's hard for me not sometimes to tell which is which. So, on the 1st of March, I paid £68. On the 29th of May, I paid £139. And on the 23rd of October... Well, I'm already on water meters, so... And on the 23rd of October, they charged me £213. Well, that's a lot of water. Hang on, let me get a calculator. As I say, nothing on this god earth. You click on shit and nothing happens these days. So 68.36, 68.36. No, that's the thing. I know that there's only me, and I can assure you, I don't take really long showers, and I don't have a lot of baths. So it should be cheap enough. That's right, let me try and add this up and work it out. 139 plus 213.05. So this year in water, well, last year, bear in mind I don't know how long the first one was, but there was nothing since January, so I'm going to assume that over 10 months, I paid £42 a month for water. I don't get through that much water. I really, really don't. Now, I will say that Severn Trent are an annoying bunch of people because, we've decided there's a problem with your... Well, every time I ask them where my water meter was, it's under the stairs. No, it's not. Well, it is. No, it's not. Well, it is under the stairs. I assure you, it is not under my stairs. Not only is there no water pipes under my stairs is a big chasmous void I can put boxes in, and the only thing that's under my stairs is the phone socket. There is no water meter. Oh, it'll be near under your stairs. Well, it's not in the downstairs toilet, which is the only thing near the under the stairs. So it's not there. Oh, well, it is. No, it is not. I did find it. It's in the kitchen, next to the kitchen tap. But, according to, they can't even tell me right where it is. And I know with the water meter in my old house, they moved it to in my driveway, so they didn't have to come on my property so much to do it, because it used to annoy the dogs a lot, because it was round the back. And, the water meter was in the house, and they would have to come in. So they put a water meter in the driveway. Now, I'm not convinced. I'm not paying for next doors and all, but we'll find out, knowing my luck. Because no one says they put it the right side of the junction, if you know what I mean. But the problem is I can't tell which is which. So if that's for this house, that's wrong. If that's for the old house, there's a burst pipe. It's kind of... But again, how is it 68 quid at the beginning of the year? By the end of the year, it was £213. Well, I haven't changed my habits. It is quite frustrating. And because I can't get into the accounts to find out, really doesn't help. And of course it means I've then got to phone them, and of course I forget to phone them. I forget to phone them because I've got other things and I'm working and I'm busy, and then of course by the time I remember they're shut. And weeks passed and I've not got anywhere with it. So, you know, Rory, you can't really see this. Hang on. Let me see if I can tilt the camera up a bit. If I do this. This is a dog. This is the dog that makes me sit, because my couch faces this way, that makes me end up sitting at a stupid angle that gives me backache, because his little furriness here is a pain in the arse. Aren't you? So yeah, I'm not one of these people who has, 3 showers a day or anything ridiculous like that, I mean, I grew up when bathing once a week was normal, so, I have never been compelled to do the morning, noon and night thing, and so, and yeah, quite often I do the, as you did back in the day, I wash in the basin, so it's at most one basin, well, even it's one half basin of water. I mean, there's no way I'm getting, I'm not drinking that much tea, I'm not peeing that much, it just doesn't feel right. My neighbours don't pay that much, interestingly enough. So I'm not convinced that it's right, but I also don't. But again, how do you prove it? Realistically, Old House should be using 0 water because, well, there's no one there. Yeah, I don't know. You kind of feel a little bit held hostage to it, because at the end of it, you can't prove or disprove that you used any of it. The only thing you can do is go and flip a switch kind of thing, turn it all off, and then when they claim that you used stuff, go, exactly how, considering it's been turned off, But even then, they'll argue that somehow that you must have turned it on, or that, So yeah, the joys of being British, I guess. Your head's in the way, Rory. It's exactly where my elbow wants to be. Well, we do, and it's funny how the cost of living has gone up a lot. Mortgage prices have skyrocketed. Energy prices have skyrocketed. Your council tax has gone up an arm and a leg, and yet your wages goes up sniffle, right? And yet somehow we managed to make it work. And I think, in a way, that is the problem. If we didn't make it work, things would have to change, because they cannot, for example, cut off the whole of the UK's electricity and gas because, everybody didn't pay. They would have to change and do something about it. I do feel sorry for quite a few people because, like so many, we'd all got used to having, so much money left at the end of the month. And then suddenly, with all the changes that happened just over a year ago, you went from having money left at the end of the month, maybe, to not. And, yet we didn't do anything to make that change. We had no real control over it. And that just seems kind of... they did all of the... It's a bit like petrol prices in the UK. Oh, there's something going on in the Middle East. Oh, the petrol price has gone up. Well, it's funny how when they're settled, they don't go down. There was quite a big kind of documentary thing done, and it showed that, oil prices were, at the time of doing the programme, were considerably cheaper than they'd ever been for like the last 5 years. Yet petrol prices were at around the £2 a litre mark. And you're kind of going, yeah, because it keeps going up. It might go down a shade, but it'll go up like 5p, come down, half a pence. Go up 5p, come down half a pence. And it never really comes down, yet at the same time, these companies are announcing, astronomical profits. And you're kind of going, yeah, no, I can see that. Because not only have you stockpiled, fuel oil at lower prices, and that's what you're actually using, but also, the moment the oil price goes up, you bump up at petrol price because, God forbid, you're out of pocket. But it doesn't go back down anything like as fast. I didn't add one. That was the wrong one. Shit. I hate when pins do that. There's a pinhole there. Yeah. I know we're an island and all that, but, it's not like, the ship only comes once every 5 years here, it's not exactly hard to get to. Let's face it, you can order something off eBay through some Chinese knockoff whatever. Let's not try and be too judgmental, but there's no way that's a genuine whatever, right? Not for that price. And it'll be here in like 3 days. Well, if they can manage it. I remember I bought someone some cheap, but they were quite pretty. So, hang on, that's not right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, that's wrong. I bought someone a pendant and earrings, and they were from China. I paid naff all of nothing for them, and I really do mean naff all of nothing. I think it was 99p. It really was naff all of nothing. And they arrived within 3 days. I'm sorry, but, I can't even get my Amazon shit in 3 days sometimes, so come on. I ordered some stuff. get this right. I ordered some. I've got quite a few. I live on Amazon, so don't be too surprised about that. But so let's see. 2 days ago, I ordered some vitamin pills that arrived earlier today. Some stuff I ordered yesterday, I think, or was it the day before, isn't due to arrive till Tuesday. One is arriving Saturday, some are arriving Friday, and some of it's arriving 17 to the 22nd of January. And that's all with Prime. So, I mean, you know, it is, you know, it's funny how the Chinese can send me stuff, but Amazon, who already, you know, who are the supplier and all the rest of it, by the way, can't manage it before, like, the 22nd of January. But the dude in China who, you know, will have sent it, and it costs like next to nothing to ship it, and you're kind of going, funny how they manage that, you know. As you say, everything just costs more. My Tesco stuff used to be about 40 quid a week. It's gone up by about 50 something pounds. So it's, I don't know, what, 25 quid for the week now? So that's nearly a third. Well, I'm lucky in some ways that there's only me. Because if I was having to pay for other people, I mean, obviously I'm paying for 2 dogs as well, but, you know, if I was having to pay for human food and, you know, more people washing, more clothes washing, more this washing, more that washing, yeah, I'm sorry. But, you know, I'm not sure I could afford it. To be honest, I'm not sure if I had a partner I would be able to afford living here. I mean, obviously they'd have a salary, so hopefully they'd contribute, but what if they couldn't for some reason? The only problem when you get towards the bottom is you've got to remember to wind these out so they can get further away. And then of course they will try and fall out the bobbin thing while you're doing it. Can you get further round now? No. You see, still somehow not that long. this is true. There are a lot of things that, I don't know, there are a lot of things that we all view as essential when, are they really? I mean, for example, and I'll use some friends that I had. They fell on hard times. And some of it was not their fault. Some of it was their fault. I'm not going to, there was definitely choices made that I felt were poor choices, but they were not my choices, and no one asked my opinion, so I kept them to myself. However, in short, a father and with a wife and a daughter. The father and mother both worked. Now, the mother was not in a high-paying job, don't get me wrong. So the impact of what she did was minimal, but I'm not going to pretend that any of them were kind of Elon Musk in another life. None of them were in, 50 plus grand a year jobs. But they both worked and paid for their daughter, who was at that time in school. And she was in secondary school. Now, that kid wanted for nothing. She was as spoiled as hell. But Dad got a detached retina and was signed off work because he needed operations, they had to do things, it was down to his health, blah, 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 blah. He was signed off work. So his wife quit working. I'm sorry, you were the only income, but you quit work. And then, not too surprisingly, couldn't afford to pay their mortgage. Now, their underage child was going out with a kid. They had to put her on the pill, although the dad didn't know that because he was against it. Not too surprisingly, underage and all that, kind of with the dad on that one. Dad then struggled to get some work. Once his eye was fixed, he struggled to get some work because obviously he'd been signed off sick and lost because of the kind of work that he did. He'd been out of touch for a while, and so people just weren't asking him if he wanted the job, right? Mother couldn't work, her own words, because she had no teeth. And it's true, she was missing a significant number of front teeth. But you can still get a job. I mean, okay, you're not going to be poster child for anybody, but you could still get a job. No, she didn't get a job. Daughter's boyfriend then has row with his father and moves out into their house. So now it's mum, dad, girlfriend and boyfriend sharing a room, of course. Well, they're paying for 4 mobile phones, a 50-inch colour TV, every Sky package known to God, including all the sports ones and some questionable ones. Mother smoked like a chimney and drank like a fish. Daughter had to have her hair highlighted every 3 weeks. Literally, every 3 weeks. You have no idea. Oh, there's a new phone out. Daughter and boyfriend had to have them. Well, no wonder they're broke. And it was, I felt sorry for them. And to stop them being evicted for Christmas that year, because it was a while ago, I said that I would loan them the money for paying for their mortgage to stop them being evicted for Christmas. But that they would need to do something about it and pay me back shortly. Yeah. They never did. And this is why they're not friends anymore. Because, of course, rather than pay me back, they bought daughter and boyfriend cars. Because when they came 17, they needed a car. No, they didn't. If neither of you are working and you've each got cars, which they did as parents, well, you can't tell me that your daughter and son need cars of their own when there are 2 cars in the family, and if you are not working, you are not necessarily using both of them all day, every day. You could have let them have use of one of the cars that you already possessed. It's not like they were Ferraris and you couldn't get them insured on it. They were standard kind of normal family sized cars. But they chose to do that rather than pay me back. Then they got really crabby about it and really bitchy about it, about how you said it was a gift, and I showed them all of the messages and went, at no point did I say any of it was a gift. You agreed here and here that you owed me the money and that you were paying me back. Well, if you're going to be like that about it, well, it's my money. Yeah, feel slightly entitled to get my money back like you promised. Yeah. That's why nice guys finish last. I was very disappointed with that. I've done a lot for them in general, and came out feeling slightly used and abused, but never mind. I did smile. Well, I probably shouldn't have done, but I wasn't overly sad when a couple of years later, things once again for them took a bit of a turn south, and daughter and boyfriend were due to get married, and well, he ran off with someone else, and and it was kind of like, oh, that's a shame. And apparently, Mummy didn't take it very well and was a bit ill. And it's kind of like, oh, that's a bit of a shame. And yeah. And it turned out that when daughter had gone for her second Dan black belt, they'd turned her down and she cried because it was the first time she ever failed. Because of course she wasn't a child anymore. And instead of them just kind of going, oh bless, here's a belt, she had to work for it this time. And well, she failed. She didn't even, because you go for assessment and she didn't pass the assessment, so she wasn't invited back to even try and grade, and she fucking howled like a small child. And they said, well, then that's part of the reason, you're not mature enough. She was most upset. But as you say, dropping the expensive Sky package when you have no money and selling the cars that you don't both need and never seemed to be something that dawned on them. And why is that? That's one too many. That's not the right number somehow. There's 2 there. I'm okay, Nautical. How's things in your side of the world? Are you up to your arse in snow, or are you like everyone else going, yeah, not really? How do they do this? I mean, each of these bobbins has arrived here in order, and yet this one is tangled round like every bobbin along the way. And round hung for these, by the looks of it. Huh. There you go. Apparently Milford is a concerning word. Not to us, it ain't. Bobbins are evil and pins are worse. Between the pair of them, they just make life really difficult. Everything kind of has this secret desire to be a problem and wrap itself and tangle in ways that just defy all manner of logic. Because there's just no way that there is logic that allows some of this to work, you know. It's a bit like, and Naughty Celt would vouch with this, when I'm poking, where's my stick? This stick, through a loop where the pin has been. Yeah, it probably is the MILF part. Yeah, I think it is. But when you poke this, and if you've got it like in a loop, so there's no way this can become a knot, right? There's just, you poke this through a hole, you then put a bobbin through this so that it can pull it back and make a loop. Nope, this is knotted now. How? It is not feasible for it to do. Now, you can, if you do tatting, you'll know that you can transfer the kind of knot that it makes. So, I haven't got anything fat to do it with. Well, I have. Now, of course, it's bloody adverts. I was going to show something. Do it after the ads then. Okie doke, take care, Naughty Celt. And I'll look after the dogs, don't worry. This is true. It's the same with placing pictures on the internet. Everything was perfect till you put the internet picture on the internet. Now it's full of issues, right? I don't know whether you can hear me or not yet, though, Gazzy, so I shall hold fire on too much. more space. There we go. Come on, you undo yourself normally, come on. Anyway, Gazzy, I was going to show you this. So, I don't exactly have anything of greatness that I can demonstrate it with, except for this wire. So, when you put it through, and you put a thing through it, it should pull... I need another thing. I don't really have another thing. Right, this will have to do. So you've got a thing, and you put the cable through it, and now it should pull it out as a loop, right? What happens to me every time is that this does the half hitch knot round the thing like this, and now it's looped over and it's stuck there, and you can't pass this through because, well, it's attached. And it does it a lot, but it's technically not possible, because although to do the loop all you have to really do is pass it over, make a loop inside it, and then pass the thing down through it, I never actually do that, because obviously, as you can see with the wrong tool, it's a similar colour. Where's the other one gone? Where'd it go? There it is. That's right, it was next to it. It is a very similar colour. Of course, now it's hooked itself over it. Hang on, there we go. So, as you can see, if I poke this needle through a hole, and this bit of thread follows it, and then I loosen the thread a bit, poke something through this hole, and then tighten it and pull it back, there is no opportunity for me to have taken this, folded it over itself like this, and then passed things through that. There's just not. There is just no chance that that was a thing. But somehow, I'm really good at it. I can do this really, really well, apparently. Yeah. Decided to move my cushion up. Don't normally actually do this. Because, well, I know I bought the cushion that could do this, but the idea is, of course, is that rather than turning the cushion 90 degrees, you're supposed to lift up that square and turn it. But then I've got to manage to have piled all my bobbins onto the square so I can lift it up and turn it. So I never do. So I never actually push it round like this because, well, Rory, I really do need to sit a little closer to my cushion than you are permitting me to do at this time. My little man, oh, you moved your head. Thank you. I appreciate that. Rory has moved his head, so my arm is no longer impeded by the location of dog here. This feels incredibly far away. I know it's actually no further than it would be when I first start the triangle, but for some reason it feels really, really weird. So. Which is part of the other reason I don't normally slide it around, because it feels really, really weird. But at the same time, that getting down here is quite difficult because, well, you're working with kind of like inch-long bits of thread, and they're really annoying. Why are you undoing it, Liz? Because Liz is stupid. What didn't I do, children? Even the non-lace makers will know what I have done, for I do this far too often. I forgot to twist them before I started. And there's no way it's 18 degrees in here. Getting hot enough to take my jumper off, which means it's nearer 26. And my thermostat says I haven't been on for ages, but it still says I'm using 3p worth of gas, because I'm not. Too many? Did I overdo that somewhat? Just that you're coming undone and making life complicated. As he says, Ghazi, it's amazing how bobbins and pins seem to know that people are watching and play up, though. Because they most certainly do. Because if you're doing a bit of lace making quietly by yourself in the middle of nowhere, nothing happens. They don't twist funny, they don't get stuck on pins, they do exactly what you want, how you want. There might be an occasional slightly grumpy one, but, you know, it'll be one. The moment you're in public, they're like little prima donnas and they've all got issues. You know, do they make bobbin therapists? I mean, is that a thing? Because it feels like it needs to be a thing. It needs to be bobbin therapists. Did I forget again? No, I can't remember. Problem is you can't really tell on the first one because the string doesn't get snugged up. It's only once it's snugged up that you can actually tell if it's got crust or not. Because if it looks like two parallel lines, the answer is no, it didn't. Oh well. Gear off, you strange flying object. This is true. What kind of tension system do you have on your spinning wheel? Double drive, Irish, whatever? Because I must admit, getting the double drive ones has always been a bit of a black art for me. Well, at least with Scotch tension, you've got a decent chance. I've always struggled with double drive systems because, well, how does it make a fucking difference? You've got a ratio. Surely that's it. You know, the big wheel spins this much, the inside wheel spins that much, and I don't quite see how it makes a difference. So, yeah, I've never really understood double drive systems. I own some, but I don't understand them. My first wheel was double drive, and basically I went with what it was in the mood for. I didn't try and argue about, well, I want this. No, none of that. None of that at all. No. It wasn't a bad little wheel. It's just that it was a bit of a trial by fire, frankly. I definitely don't think double drives are for beginners, really. It's a very bad idea. Must admit, I like Scotch tension. No, the electric ones don't. I've got a little nano. But at least with the electric ones, you can still feel really in control. In part because it is a known kind of thing. You don't have you may not have a lot of difference of take up and, you know, spinning speed. You've got one setting and you either like it or you don't. But you control the speed and you adjust round it because it at least is a fixed known quantity. When you've got double drive, it just feels like voodoo. And then if you're trying to do voodoo spinning, worsted, sure, I have to think about it. No, it's woolen spinning, isn't it? Woolen spinning, where you do the kind of let go and pray to the gods that it doesn't fall apart, rather than inchworming. You know, because I always talk to people who have no idea, I've always called them voodoo and inchworm, so hence my brain's not actually sure what they're really called anymore, because it's been quite a few years since I actually last had to use actual words for it. But, you know, it is... If you're inchworming, you can get away with most things. If you're trying to do voodoo, however, you need to be in control. And I don't know how they did it with double drives. I really don't. Also doesn't help that apparently I'm a left-handed spinner. I don't think I am, because it makes no sense. So according to the internet, a left-handed... I must admit, I haven't done inchworm for a while. I think I would if I was doing socks. If I was going to make some yarn for some socks, I'll probably inchworm it. But, it is, as you say, finding the sweet spot is difficult. The Ashford is a really heavy little machine. And I also found it quite hard to be delicate with the foot pedal to get the right speed. It just, I always found that it was just never in a comfortable spot. Whereas with the Nano, for some reason, I could find the spot and maintain the spot a lot better. Now, finding the spot with the Ashford was fine. Maintaining the spot was difficult. Finding the spot with the Nano is hard, but maintaining it, not so much. So it kind of depends. And of course, if you are doing a lot of voodoo spinning, maintaining it is actually quite crucial. So for that point of view... And I think that was part of my problem with it, was that it was, you couldn't slow it down just a little bit for a second or speed it up for a little bit for a second. It was binary. It was either all go or all stop. You didn't really have that kind of graduation like you would say on a sewing machine. And I expected it to, because, well, it's a foot pedal. Surely that's how it works. I did get one of those clever bobbin filling things. I can't remember who made them, but they made them so that it moved up and down and beautifully constantly filled the bobbin. I did find that really good for plying, because, you know, when you're spinning up your single, it takes a bit of a while, and so, to be honest, you can afford the moving around. When you're plying, it fills up real quick, and it feels like you're constantly faffing with your bobbin. It's a bit like the pins and doing this, is you constantly seem to be pinning something. You know, if you could just stick to doing the actual lace making portion, it would go a lot quicker. It's the pinning that really slows it down, and fucking about with your bobbins because they've grown longer than all the rest. And yeah, I think that kind of used to wear me out, was the fact that I know what I wanted to do, but I didn't always achieve it. So I bought a Spinolutions Mac 3. Was it a Mac 2? Whatever. And I really like that. It's a pretty savagely solid piece of plywood with, it's not got a lot of grace looking at it. It's a bit of a bull in a china shop to an extent. But at the same time, I found it really easy, even though it didn't go particularly fast, and adjusting it was Scotch tension, but the way they had done the Scotch tension was a bit blind, and every so often it was like someone had oiled it and it just wouldn't grab, and you'd have timed it all the way in and it still wasn't grabbing. So with that in mind, I felt that there was possibly something they could have done to make that a little bit better, but I love that wheel. I really do. It is my go-to wheel, despite all the wheels that I've got. It is my go-to wheel. So, yeah. I really ought to finish spinning up the yarn that I was spinning, that I haven't touched for a while. Can you not be twitching into my arse, please, Rory? You know how dogs make like little movements sometimes with their paws and their faces while they're sleeping? Well, they're obviously touching my butt, and he's got the twitches. So there's like claws kind of scraping down the back of my butt, which is quite distracting. Although it's better than him licking it, which he did the other day, which was not overly pleasant, Mr. Rory Paws. Joys of dog. So yes, as you say, there are some things that people don't realise you've stuffed up, and you can cover it, especially with lace making, because you're moving bobbins back and forth, and maybe you will be pulling out some pins, but they're not necessarily going to associate that with making a mistake, unless they're lace makers, obviously. Sometimes it is really obvious when you make a mistake. Sometimes it is slightly less so, but only sometimes. So, and of course, I am the person that inevitably, should I make a mistake, people who know what they're doing will be looking at it and going, excuse me, you fudged that bit. Yes, I did. Yes, thanks for pointing that out. I wasn't going to mention it, but cheers for that. It's always been my raison d'etre to be the person who gets caught out for things. So, I remember doing at school. At school, running in the corridors was not permitted. Not too surprisingly, but running in the corridors was not permitted. I only ever ran once. Now, I knew people who haired round that school like their butt was on fire, morning, noon and night, and they never got stopped. Me, the one time, and I arguably wasn't actually running, I was walking, but I was walking pretty fast. What happened to me? Well, as I went past so, hard to explain, but if this was the corridor, so I was coming down here, the corridor, there's a hall where this block is, so there's an entrance there and there's an entrance there, and there's the corridor that comes down here, but here, in the corner, is a stairwell that goes upstairs. So I'm coming down here, unbeknownst to me, teacher coming down the stairs, so as I round the corner, out comes hand like this, neck. I got stopped by the neck, cough, cough, because, it was a bit of a shot, coughy, coughy, cough, and told off and given a severe lecture, which I did not listen to, and I can't quite explain it, but we were in quite a small room. In fact, it was a small room I didn't even know existed in the school, which happened to be her office. But I remember she was shouting. I do not remember a single word, and I never did. Even 2 seconds later, I could not have told you what she was telling me. I didn't listen because she was shouting. If she had not shouted at me, I probably would remember every word to this day. But she just shouted and I didn't listen. It was a bit like this is going to sound even worse. A few years later, I'm on my push bike and one of my lessons is held at another school. So I have to travel to the other school for this particular lesson. So there was me, cycle, and it was up the mother of all hills. I shit you not, this thing was like, this sort of angle. To the point, I think despite being as fit as the butcher's dog, most days I had to get off and walk the last bit. There were very few days which I actually managed to successfully make it up the hill. Even though I could cycle 50 miles, I could not make it up this stupid hill. It was very hard work. And came out of the school, turned right to go even more up the hill so that I could go down the other side with a really, really long run, because, well, you don't have to pedal, right? Because it is a bitchingly big hill, and frankly, you just go, whee, all the way down it, right? And I pulled out, and didn't get very far up the road, and this copper stopped me in his car. He kind of put his hand out, and I stopped, and he had a go at me. I can't tell you what he said either. I had earphones in. I didn't hear a word. I just looked. I can lip read, but I didn't bother. And so I could see that he'd ask me a question and I'd nod. And, I have no idea what he said. I probably agreed to, are the aliens landing or something? Yeah. Of course so. Oops. I was about 16 when I did that. So, actually, I was 16 when I did that. So, who am I kidding? I was old enough to know better. Oops. But I didn't, so I didn't, I always wondered what they asked me or what they said. Because I have no idea. And as I say, I can normally lip read, but for some reason I didn't bother. Which is kind of odd, because normally I'm lip reading even without thinking about it. I remember upsetting my parents once by lip reading. Even though they were my parents and knew I could do it, they also obviously forgot. Because, I didn't need to. So, the reason I could lip read and I can vaguely do the British Sign Language alphabet is because I was deaf when I was 3 and a bit for a year and my parents insisted that I learn it. Anyway, I remember sitting on the couch one day and my mother was doing one of those mouthing conversations with my dad, and it was like, I know, so what about elephants? because obviously I saw my mother go, elephant. And it was like, so what about elephants? Where did you hear that? Well, I didn't, but you just said it. No, I didn't. You did. I saw you. My parents kind of like, oh shit, we forgot she could lip read. My lip reading skills are not great. Mainly due to lack of practice, but sometimes I can read. If you've got streamers who are on mute, I can sometimes read what they're talking about, but and I have a couple of times kind of said you might want to put, ads on or something and put a be right back on sign, because anyone else who can lip read that, probably you don't want them to. This one's a bit more personal, You're really not helping, Rory. You're really not. I wish I could sit further back on the couch. Be a bit more comfortable and balancing on the wooden strut at the front, which is what I am doing. My puppies, of course, are fast asleep. She had another one of her stress and anxiety chomps this morning. And she's definitely been less twitchy today. She is fast asleep right now. She heard the word she and she's giving me an evil eye. Yes, I mentioned she. Bless them. But I do wish I could sit a bit further back on the couch. Because then I could sit a bit more to this side and sit a bit more square and a bit more comfy. But if I ask him to move, he's going to get mad because he likes sitting there when I'm here. It's his thing. But there's not really enough room. I need like a 20-seater couch or something. I've been trying to work out how I could do this. So that the PC can still reach my table, which is over there. That the dog will have some room on the couch. That I can still reach to everything on the table, but preferably it's to the left of me. But that I can have this and sit directly in front of it. Why does it look like there's a bare bit on your tail, my man? You've been licking your tail. I'll have to look at that later. Let's have a bit more drink. Drink! Yeah, Rory, I know it's not comfortable for you. I never said it was comfortable for me either. I swear I need to put dots on the bobbins that seem to come undone and see if it is my imagination or if it is constantly the same frigging bobbins. So if you timed this, I reckon that most of this is more than half the time of this, possibly nearly 2/3 of the time of this, is grabbing a pin and stabbing it. And if I could revolutionise my pin system somehow, that this would be a lot faster. Give me a pin! I know there's like 1,000 pins in there and they can all stab me in the finger. But of course that means the pointy end's upwards, not the bit that is easily grabbable. Slightly overdid that one. Assholes. Forgot to twist the last one. Ooh, that doesn't add up. Well, shit. How can that? Yes, it does. Thank God for that. So I thought for some reason that didn't add up. But it's because the base of that pin is a bit more invisible, so it doesn't show up. There we go. Huh. Fair enough. Take care. See you soon. I understand. 'Tis dinner time after all. For I too am hungry. So when we get to the end of this triangle, I will be calling it quits to go and make some food. For I do not run on love. Stop mating, you annoying set of bobbins. a bit cross-stitched tonight. Kind of in the mood. Rather than playing Path of Exile and getting nowhere fast. Ah! Foul! What's the sharp end? Ow. Blimey, that really hurt. Sorry, dogs. Ow. That really is. That was quite deep. Yes, that's going to bleed for a while. You waft it around a little bit till it kind of clots a little. I'm not going to die, no one worry about that, but really friggin' hurt. Okay, doesn't seem to be leaking out generally at this point. Keep an eye on it. Pins, because I don't want to get blood on anything, because that will never come out. It's that flappy fly thing again. Attracted to the light, of course. Mean pin. Right, this doesn't look right somehow. So, see, that's better. That's you. point? Why aren't you going in the hole? Because we're just being awkward, fair enough. Nearly down to the corner. Getting a bit of backache now. Oh. But we're nearing the end. We're nearing the end. It'll be okay. We'll make it. Little flying thing is making me itch. I know it's all in my brains, but little flying thing is making me itch. Last thing I need. Never mind. Pin leaping to the floor. I found a pin in my kitchen today. Not quite sure how it got there, but there was a pin in my kitchen. Don't know where that went. Right. Let's put you in a stick, because that's the done thing. Come on, go in the stick. You know you want to. Here we go. Right. Now we bring this back down. Actually, what we could do is try and turn it. Let's take these out actually for now and try and turn this. Like that. One of you goes in this end. Look. The other one goes in this end. Like that. Right. So. What we normally do at this point is sort out the bobbins a little bit, because you're too short by a long way, so we'll make room for you so I can unwind you. Just to be annoying. Right. That flying thing needs to sod off a lot. Need you to stay in the pile over there. you out. That way you can all be in the right place. So. Where did you came from in here somewhere? Possibly here. Close enough. You're next. And what we'll do now is turn you upside down briefly. Take out an almighty load of pins after pushing these edge ones. Land on my pillow one more time. Go on. It's a dare. Promise you. Right. Now we take the magic pot of pins and we pull out all of the spare ones. Which I really should put my glasses back on because I can't see shit. Not looks like I can see anything with them on either. Something a bit strange. A loose thread there. Too friggin' late. If you didn't notice before, Kimber, you definitely won't now. sure how. Seems to have skipped a whole load of things. I'm not going to be able to do anything about that now. There we go. Apart from this one loose thread, that doesn't look bad at all, you know. Sigh. Anyway, it is what it is. Right. So, we need to take a photo. You should be back in the middle of there somewhere. We need to take a photo of our beautiful triangle. For we have completed yet another triangle. I am pressing a button, phone. Oh, you can tell I'm touching that, but not that I'm touching that. Triangle. Now what we do is we take one of the dark cloths that I have, and we fold it in half, because we only really need half a cloth, and we take that out the way, and place this over the top, like this. Just making it a little flatter than that. And then we pin it in. and then we start flipping. So we flip you over first. Because this is the order we'll need them, and this will make them lie flatter. You're you has escaped down at the bottom, well done. Then you, and you, like that. So you're all out the way. You are ready. There you go. There we go. You come out of there. See, we're all ready to do the next triangle, which will be tomorrow, which is Monday, I think. I was going to do a bit, but we'll do it tomorrow. There is no rush to push things through. I appreciate, of course, the sooner it's done the better, because we can then do other projects. But that sees the end of triangle 13. Triangle 14 can begin tomorrow. In fact, I can then lift those up there to keep them out of the way. This can go over the top of that, and then my lovely brown cloth of doom goes over the top. So yes, there we go, everybody. We have completed the triangle, which was the aim of the day. So with that in mind, then I bid you adieu. I shall see you tomorrow when we embark on triangle 14, and then I will have updated my where we're at graphic. For those who do not know, where is my graphic? I've moved it, haven't I? There it is. So we have just completed the next triangle, which is obviously not shown here. So we have completed a triangle, kind of the first triangle of square number 4. I will update that for tomorrow, and we shall come back and we shall do our best, which is all anyone can ask. So I thank you for joining me today. I hope you had a reasonable time. If you've got any questions, I'll be back tomorrow evening. You can always drop me a message, or you can find me on any of my kind of handle things that I've posted on my profile. You can always ask questions. I reserve the right not to answer them, but you can ask anything you like. And I shall be back tomorrow. Take care. Goodbye.